Hello. For those of you who don't know, my name is Esteban. I'm currently an instructor for a great bundle of students, and one of my students asked me for a favor to review their resume, and I actually suggested that if they let me, with their information redacted, I can share with them my process on editing and updating resumes so that um, they can get the job that they want. Now, a little background on me is that I used to edit resumes all of the time. I've probably edited close to 400 or 500 resumes. I change my resume very regularly. I have maybe 50 or 60 versions of my resume, depending on the job or anything like that. And so I I really just follow a very similar process, a system. This may take you a bit longer, but I kind of break it down into steps. The first one is I first review the resume, so what's already here. I try to see what's available, and I have actually these things written down here. So then I kind of select the template, and I just start migrating stuff over, and I collect other bits of information, maybe relevant to either a job or a job description. And then from there, I tighten it up, use AI to make it nice. At the time of the original resumes I was working and doing, there was not much in terms of AI tools, but I'll show you how I use AI with it as well, so that you can easily adjust this for a job or a position. Okay, so let's see. First thing I do is I read the resume, and I kind of scan it and look at certain things like how many headings are there. Okay, so for right now I see 4, 5, 6 headings, 7 headings, also a page number. Now, think of your resume as sort of digital real estate. Whatever you do with the space on your resume or anything, you want to be very mindful, strategic. So the space that you actually use is really, really important. And these headings, sure, they take up a lot of space, but as we go through this, you'll start seeing how we go from this resume, which has a skill section and all of this stuff, into one that's a little more complete, has the keywords that you need, and you'll see exactly how that goes right here. So as I can see, there's about 6 sections. They have projects, which we can kind of bake this into a single section with relevant experience, right? And then this student has quite a few things that they've added here, which is fine. But then I start looking at the styling. Now, because it's in a PDF format, I have to find a Word document. I know the student is super smart and actually made it in LaTeX. Now, LaTeX is more on the academic side. You can do this in LaTeX for sure, but you'll see how doing it in Word is going to make my life easier for making this video. So I have a list of templates. I recommend that you either find templates or make your own. It's really no issue with having your own template custom made. It's important to have just structure, solid structure. So I grabbed a template here that I'll say is okay. It's not my favorite. Julio is a fictitious person, and this one looks pretty okay to me, right? It's very, very close to what they have already. However, what I want to do is probably make certain changes and edits into the structure so that we can get started here. So I start to see this person has, or this template has the first section summary, and then they have additional work experience. I tend to bring these two together, but I like the structure because it's fairly solid, as in I don't have to make too many changes. So for now, I'm going to just start migrating some of the information from the other document over. Okay, so I'm just copying it. I'm going to paste it here, and you'll see that between PDFs and Word documents, there isn't a great way to copy and paste, but we're just going to put everything here so that we can have it all in one place in a single structure. Okay. So then we have our SDA education. Here we got, what do we got here? They had bachelor's. And one thing I actually start trying to do is to preserve some structure is I make invisible tables. Some people might say that this is not recommended. It's not recommended if you submit it as a Word document, but you'll see I'm making this table and then I just make everything sort of invisible. So they studied at Qasim University, and they, where's that? I like to put location as well. So Qasim, and then I'll do a little bit of research as to where the region is. And so here, for completeness, this is what I'm doing. I'm doing the Google thing. So Qasim Al Qasim. Okay, cool. So then I find some of that. Qasim. Then I put the range of time that they studied. Okay. And it was Bachelor of Computer Science. Now, they already did something that is very, I'd say, important here, and that is including some details. So even when you see how I start formatting some of this stuff, I make the most use of the space. So graduated with first class honors, and then they include their GPA, which is totally acceptable. Not required, just in case anyone is curious. But what I would note is I would add here some parts about were you in a club, member, ideally were you a VP, something like that. These are good points to add to your resume in general. But I do know that since they are one of my students, they actually have another bit of education here. So they teach with Saudi Digital Academy, and the bootcamp is generative AI with We Cloud Data. So for now, I'm just trying to make sure we get this information all in the same place. And we can start getting things in order. Now, the boot camp, or the school, the boot camp, yes, this started in August 2025 and it ends in November 2025. Now, you'll notice the structure and you might have your own style or preference. This is a very typical applicant tracking system structure. So I would recommend sort of keeping these things this way. And similar to how they graduated with first class honors, I know that they got recognition of excellence, which is something that's ongoing. So if you're recognized for excellence, you have scholarships, you had something outstanding, any of these things, this is the best place to put it, just to show that not only were you a student or you studied, but you were also outstanding. Okay, so recognition of excellence award. Okay. Now, okay, I said I was going to copy certain things over, and we were. However, we're a little slower than I expected, which is okay. Now, here on this document, I kind of like this structure. I like to put this relevant title mostly for one reason. It's ambiguous, so you can keep it fairly general. You don't want to put irrelevant experience. So that's something that I would always be cautious with, is having so many sections. You can generalize these sections to include this information very nicely. But like I said, now that we've already made a table, you start seeing that I tend to copy and paste a lot of different things. One thing I did not like about this template is this fat chunk here that does not have to be there. So I copied this table, and they worked at, where is it? Saudi Digital Authority Data and AI Authority. Okay, so SEDAIA is what it's called. And this alone should tell you that she's a great student. But what I would say now is you want to include the locations and dates. So June 2024, August 2024. Cool. What were they? They were a data engineering intern. Cool. Not much else there. Okay. Before we keep jumping all over the place, I'm just for reference, I'm going through in the order that I see these things appear. However, yours might be in a different order. I would recommend keeping education with education. So one thing I might do and would like to do is probably courses, put that under education. And the way I would do that is doing a little, like, a bit of a subheading here where I just say courses, and we'll clean up the formatting. I know it looks kind of not so nice right now, but I tend to clean up the formatting at the end, because if you clean up the formatting throughout the process, you will be frustrated when things don't continue to change. So all I'm trying to do here is I'm going to insert a row below, because I know they have 3 courses, and then I'm going to copy and paste each of them. Now, these are in different orders than what the student already had, and that's mostly because they put it in chronological order, so to speak. Most resumes should be in reverse chronological order. So what that means is if you are doing something now, that should probably be at the top. What you did a year ago, you put at the bottom. So keeping that structure makes it easier to read. See, it's like a historic timeline. It seems almost counterintuitive, but this is very standard with resumes, with any of this stuff. And like I said, we will clean up the structure of this resume at the end so that we can have a solid looking resume. Okay, cool, we got the courses. So far we've got the courses. Now people put skills. I'm not gonna copy that here, and you'll see exactly why when I start getting AI involved in the mix. And what I start to do is, once I have everything in one place, I begin putting everything together. So now I'm going to copy this here, the bullet points for relevant experience, and you'll see just how this kind of works. Okay, so, like I said, different places will have different structures to resumes, some adjustments, but this is very much information you can generalize. Now, one thing I like to do here too is, because this is what I was talking about, the formatting. If you fall in love with the formatting at the beginning, you will run into things like this one being off course. And so I like to format paint, copy the format I like, and then I just paint it. And then I know that these are aligned. But like I said, I'm gonna keep that until the end so that you can see how that happens en masse. So this was the relevant experience. I'm gonna delete the remainder of this resume information here. Okay, so it's not Julio, but I'm gonna keep this information because for their privacy, I don't want to put in information that I don't want to put in their information. That's all. Okay, so this was their internship experience. Now, what I like to do here as well is, you'll see that they had a very, very cool project here, which is, let's see. Okay, AI-powered vehicle, this, that. What I like to do is I copy, again, and you're gonna see this, a lot of it is copy paste. Like I said, don't think about the formatting right now, but they basically had project with their school, and then I'm gonna call it Samkara, because that's the name of the project. And I do something like, I'm just copying over some of the information that they already had there. So the dates, I don't exactly know when it started, so I'm gonna just leave these as like question marks for now. But I'm assuming it's up until 2025 because they are a recent grad. Okay, and then I copy this over. Okay, I copy the bullet points, that is. Like I said, explaining while you're doing is very difficult. But okay, for now, I've got all of the information that I need here, okay? And this is where we're gonna use the same formatting, copy paste. So then we're just gonna clean this up so it's complete sentences. Okay. And now when they struggle to put enough onto a page or enough information, you'll see that it's already trailing off, and we're gonna tighten it up. Okay, we are going to tighten this up to be much more organized. Now, let's say at this time, we're just gonna focus on a bit around the formatting so that it's presentable, and show you a quick way on how you can check these things. So the first thing I always do is I make sure that I use a serif font. And so if you're not familiar with a serif font, I do recommend that you see serif versus sans serif font readability. So they had that correct on the original resume. The serif fonts, for those of you who might not be familiar, this is a serif font versus a sans serif font. It's just way, way easier to read it. And it's, when I say it's not only easier, but you remember it more. When you read text in this format, it's more memorable, right? And so I'm really not sure what is being said here, but there's sufficient research backing up my claim. If you're interested, I highly recommend checking it out. Okay, so let's just select everything. And like I said, for now, we're gonna choose a serif font like Garamond, regular. Pretty standard font. Actually, it's almost too small. You can use Times New Roman. Cambria is a good one too. But yeah, you want Georgia? Is Georgia okay? Yeah, Georgia looks good. Okay. We don't want it bold. Oh well, pretty bold already. Okay. For now with the formatting, I just want you to take a look at something here. Sometimes people have asked me like, hey, it's trailing off, I have too much space. I'll show you a trick on different lines and how you can kind of tighten things up here. But you'll see, like, for example, you see this space up here. This is a formatting challenge so that you have this line spacing option, line and paragraph spacing. So if you want to remove this space, you just go remove space before paragraph. And that just bought you a whole line or two, so that now I can go and write summary. So now you have the summary as the title, or I think hers was originally profile, which I like. And then something I also like to do is, you'll sometimes see people have line separators. And I've seen this a lot, is that people will, I don't know, insert a shape. Don't do that. I don't recommend that. I recommend, if you're working in Word, just do 3 lines here, like kind of like that. And, oh, I guess not. This is also something that happens, and I'll show you another trick for dealing with this, because you will fight with this forever. So I just did 3 lines and I hit enter. Now, one thing I also like to do is I like to, at this point, you'll still see the space, like, oh, we just bought a line, but now I'm gonna basically just select this line, and I set the font size to 1. And then remember I had mentioned the thing about the line spacing. So you can do the same and then just remove the space after. Now, you just kind of clean this up, and you can decide whether, oh, hey, I want to leave this left adjusted or center or right or whatever. Usually I recommend left adjusted. Most of the time in English, you will read left to right, so you don't want to confuse people. Okay, now we're on to, no, what happened? There we go. I just wanted to do that so that we have some space and it's brought together. One thing that you'll notice here is that you have these very ugly kind of curve to your actual paragraph. What people tend to like better or find easier to read is justifying it. So this little option here to justify it is what I do. And then because they are a recent grad, I sort of even just copy some of these headings over. So I copy like that and paste it. Like I said, work smarter, not harder. And then similarly, this little space will be very annoying after. I know it will, because I've dealt with this a million times. I always like to No, not remove the space. Okay. So then just delete that. No, I guess not. Okay, that's not gonna work. So remember, if that's not too good for you as is, I just, again, shrink the font size to 1. And you might run into issues in the future like, oh, where'd my cursor go? But just remember, playing around with some of the sizing and those things can really buy you back a lot of space. Okay, so now we're getting back into the education. Again, because this student did get a Recognition of Excellence Award. Great job. Now the next part is a little bit of formatting. And what I like to do is I like to turn some of these into, like, let's say it's a job or a position or something. I do generative AI. I do it for companies. I bold them. And then this part here, I will italicize it. So I just hit Command or Control I, but yeah, just italics there, just to give it some a little more finesse or a little more organizing there. And then I copy the same thing over and over. And I would do, now you see, I'm focusing on leaving the actual course like that. And the reason I'm doing that is because you'll see that these are really long, right? So I italicize it, and that's sometimes even why I really like the Garamond font, because if you see something like this, and I put it to regular, like, it'll all be in line, it'll all be nice, and then I just italicize it, and look at that change, right? So the only thing I'm doing is here, this is regular text, italics just saved me, so here, I'll even put it for reference here. Italics just saved me, I don't know, maybe 10%, right? So that's something I like to do personally, but you can just extend this with the table and it cleans up the formatting really, really nicely. And now you'll see most of the resume is on a single page, but we didn't include a bunch of information that I know most students or recent grads like to have. And that is my skills section. How are they going to know I have those skills? And I'll show you right now how we do that. Okay. So, but we aren't done the formatting. So. And like I said, I get pretty lazy about copying and pasting and doing all this stuff, or even the structure. So I'm going to copy the original one. Okay, so I copied that. I'm going to paint this section here. You'll see we're buying a lot of space now. This one didn't seem to like my little drawing there. So let's do that. Oh. Like I said, this one's going to be very, very annoying. So we'll just decrease it to 1. Okay. Now you don't want to have things too crammed, and you'll start seeing that a good way to check it is sometimes just to, like, hit print. Okay, I guess I can't print it for now and show it in the video. But you'll start seeing how this resume starts coming together. You just mostly want your structure to be very, very decent at first, and now we're reducing the space. The same concern that happens with a lot of students, but you'll see how bringing in your skills and having sort of structure here will help a lot in keeping this organized and presentable. So I'm just justifying the text right now for those who are like, whoa, but what is he doing in this step? Okay. Leave one space. leave it a little spaced out there. It looks good, I would say. Okay, so mostly what I do in this next step is kind of just pump it through AI, but I'll explain to you here how I originally edited these, like pre ChatGPT, pre all these eras, so that you can understand what is happening. And there's a directory of words that you can use, and we're already kind of using them here, right? You'll see them here. These are action words. Action, developed, validated, led, utilized, integrated, delivered, right? These words say that you did something. And then you have some context here. So develop an end-to-end automated data integration pipeline using Jenkins, Flask, and PySpark. That's the context. Amazing. But most of these resumes lack one thing, which is the other part of it, and it's the end result. So what? You did these things, so what? So what I tend to do in some of these is I say, here's your action, here's your context, and here's your end result. Now, developed an end-to-end automated data integration pipeline using Jenkins, Flask, and PySpark for what? To ingest and high fidelity data. I'm trying to think of something that would either include more of these skills or the things that they've said. So sometimes I go back into the original thing here and I said, okay, they put deep learning, professional, pandas, PyTorch, scikit-learn. So because they're talking about like PyTorch, NumPy, or scikit-learn, for example, I know these are machine learning or sometimes tools for AI. So I'm going to go back, use my creative juices. And again, this is because I don't know exactly what the outcome was. I go back into the Word document, I say it, and I'll put, we use Jenkins, Flask, and PySpark. Again, Flask being a tool for app development, products, or microservices. I would then say to train a deep learning algorithm for, now then I would think, okay, this is for Sedaya. Sedaya does, they do a lot of work with facial recognition. They do a lot of work with database management. They're basically the data people here in Saudi Arabia. So then I train a deep learning algorithm for, facial recognition of more than 10,000 I don't know, national IDs. This is again just one example that I can think of in the meantime, right? Like you're trying to give them some type of end result, like what did this pipeline do, right? So validated data schemas and deployed solutions with Docker on DigitalOcean for 100% auditability. For 100% auditability, and then you think of the groups, right? So who might this be for? So if it was maybe for facial recognition or something along those lines, then for 100% auditability in, now this is why I start using AI, because then I could just say, nope, don't like that. So let's now go into our AI friends and see what they have to say about it. Okay, so I realized, and I know it might seem abrupt, but sometimes I'm pausing and thinking through some of these things, and I am going to share a bit of a prompt that I put together. And it requires a couple of things, right? So the first thing is that we grab those skills because people like including their skills, which is great. And this is where I would say here, I copy these and I'm going to just put it into chunks of my prompt here. And I'll walk through the prompt after as well, so that you can kind of see it. Okay, so this student, assuming since it's a generative AI bootcamp, this student wants to probably get an AI engineer or AI related job. So that would probably be one of the first steps I would go through in some of this, even before ChatGPT, right? So you have to figure out the exact job that you want to make your life easier. So here is my prompt. No, okay. And you'll see the only thing I've done here is really I've put in some of the experiences that they shared with me, and then I'll talk about roughly all the other stuff, right? So what am I asking? So ensure they follow this format, 2 sentences here, right? So auditability, blah, blah, blah. These are the 2 statements. And I only want 2 statements, complete sentences. This is even from some of the ones I've done before. You will craft a professional and thorough sentence that is ATS compatible for AI/ML engineer positions. Okay. So this is where I'd say it's concise, yet high in perplexity and burstiness. This is to make sure it doesn't sound like AI. And then we will, focus on the most important skills an e-commerce manager might have. No, we are going to AI and ML specialist might have, okay? Then you want to audit, and I've already added some parts here of different steps, their skills. So I copied and pasted their skills here. And then I say, hey, make sure it moves towards the target of working as an AI/ML engineer. Now, the only thing I might adjust here is making sure that these skills are in, let's say, like a LinkedIn job description, right? So I would go linkedin.com, and then I'd go to, let's go to jobs. Okay, I go to jobs here. Then we say, oh my gosh, these are exactly the jobs I want. No, just put AI, or AI, not AI, oh, AI/ML. Just anything kind of like that. You can keep it general and think of like, okay, artificial intelligence integration specialist. Perfect, that's me. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to get that job. Then I would go through and see key responsibility and required skills. So this really tailors it for their specific job roles or anything like that. So, but in any case, this is just food for thought. Let's go back to our good friend ChatGPT here and just click run and see what happens. Okay, we thought for 25 seconds. Okay. Built an end-to-end Jenkins. Okay, this is almost too many keywords. And this is fine for now because we're gonna edit it again anyway. So this process is it's ongoing. No. Sorry, I'm back to my Word document here. That's why I said no. I pasted the entire prompt back in here. So now we've got all of this stuff. And I just paste no again. Why that seems to have saved somehow. This is what I said about don't fall in love with the formatting quite yet. Good news is we've formatted some, and we can just copy and paste. Production training. Okay. So we're going to, boom, perfect. Looks pretty good. These are almost too much, and I'll show you what I would do next. I would grab these, and what you'll see is I didn't even change this. So it's good to make sure and triple check. So and mention that this is a graduation project. Okay. So now I'm going to copy this stuff here really all over again, and copy the prompt again, and you're going to see we're starting to run out of space, but we're already including the no, this one. Bear with me. We're already including a lot of the skills that they have. So in the same chat, I always just put in however many sentences. Usually you just want 2 sentences in your experience, especially as a recent grad. You'd rather have those amazing, wow, oh my gosh, super cool experiences over putting way too much information. In case you're nosy, you can see some of the stuff I work on otherwise. Like OBS, learning how to use OBS. This is the recording tool I use. Okay. Finding KPIs, this thing. Okay. Now, these are okay, but I would still redraft parts of this and mention that here I might add this point. We need a measurable result. This is a system breaking requirement, and it must be included as a figure relevant to the description. If it isn't included, we can make one up that is relevant. This is why it's so you're not like, oh, I didn't do that on my resume. Think about the things that you've actually done and what that end result was. Because if someone's thinking of hiring you, they want to know where you're going to add value, how they're going to make money from this as well, right? So in any company, they're going to hire you and think, is this guy going to make me money or save me money? Okay, if he's going to make me money, I need to put them into, I don't know, a sales function or something that helps with revenue. If they're going to save me money, how can they expedite or make things more efficient? So I encourage you to think in dollars and productivity and percents in some of these. Amazing. There's always unusual activity from my device. It's because I do way too many things on it. So I don't know what's trying to happen here. We'll see. We'll pause it for now. Okay, so I had to make a new chat. And I don't know what was so unusual. I literally just copied the same prompts, but this should now be a little more cutting claims. Okay, this seems okay, a little wordy, but I'm gonna just copy it and paste it here into where this project part is, and you'll see, like I said, this formatting, don't fall in love with it the first time because it will let you down. So copy that formatting. Okay, we copy this formatting. No. Copy this formatting like this. Okay. So now we have a resume that includes all of those things, and this is where I even make an adjustment here with the profile, because this is a very wordy profile. I would condense this down, bring it down, make it a little smaller. Okay, so the last part again is the summary here that I like to sort of update. And then I'm gonna just put this, because I'm gonna put the entire resume through to really summarize it. Insert experience from clubs / anything. But I now copy this over into my friend ChatGPT, a very hardworking friend of mine, and I start building in other parts of the prompt. And I just say, hey, now I want you to take a look at my career summary. Here's my career summary. Okay. And then I just say, do me a favor, and can you, I did this for some of my data governance students, fruitful career in data governance. We're actually going to do it for AI/ML engineering in the field of AI/ML within enterprise. Okay, ensure it's ATS optimized. And I just say, I haven't gotten any interviews and I need a job badly. Okay, so this is just like adding a little bit of urgency. And then I take, just so you can kind of see here as well. Nope, not that. I mean, you can put the original one in too, kind of help you out. But I just say this is sort of my resume here. Okay, double check. Yep, looks good. Just the career summary at this point. And then the last final steps are formatting and, oh shoot, sorry. Realized I didn't. So yeah, I just pasted the resume here at the bottom, right? I just say, do me a favor, help ensure it's awesome, indistinguishable from that of a human's writing. I haven't gotten any interviews, I need a job badly. This is all the stuff that I've been doing, okay? And do the things. Write it. Make it awesome. Okay. And SQL proven across enterprise pipelines and ML ops, ready to accelerate Saudi enterprise AI initiatives. Sounds amazing. You're hired. So I just copy it. I go back. Actually, I'm going to do this because I've been getting some very, very weird copying and pasting. And you'll see. Okay, initiatives. This. I like to have a little bit of space here. and just clean it up, justify it. Now, first class honors CS graduate and AI ML engineer specializing in deep learning, computer vision, and NLP/Gen AI. Deliver production-ready models in Python and PyTorch with strong data engineering, CI/CD, Docker, and SQL skills. Proven across enterprise pipelines and ML ops, ready to accelerate. Okay, that looks amazing to me. Now, the last thing I try to do is I just make some edits on how realistic this sounds. This is the final step. And this is how essentially I edit and update a resume. So I'll just go in here. So is that in line with the other one? And the last part is because they did so awesome, I would just add that here at least for their university because it's their graduation project. I'd just say, hey, and again, this is not usually how I might mention it. Samkara. But I'm not entirely familiar with how it's done locally. They mentioned that into a mobile app with SQL background. Okay, cool. Samkara AI-powered vehicle damage assessment. 1,000 reports boosting repair shop. Okay. Now, this looks good to me. Now I just save this as student resume. And we're good. Basically now I'm gonna change their information, put it there, and give it back to them. So what we learned is a bit around formatting, a bit around how to use AI to help you write. I do encourage you to edit and change some of these sentences, but this is how I would approach at least getting a first draft and making it a bit more ATS optimized. Having your LinkedIn is great. So the next part I would do is just put their name, right? Their name, update their email, make sure that this is the same thing, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Their name is not Julio, but then you got their number. And then I would add things like, let's say your portfolio or GitHub. They have their GitHub, which I think is good. And that's it. If you like this stuff, let me know, comment, ask questions. I'm open to doing more of these things. These are fun in a weird way, but very fun.